And we welcome you to the Alderson's Awards West postgame show. For trophies, awards, t-shirts, and so much more, head over to aldersons.net for their full catalog. I'm Tyler Hergert, joined alongside me is Tim Luce. We have Tim down on the field right now. We're going to try and at least get a player up here for an interview, possibly our game MVP. Right now, the Graham-Kapowsin Eagles just out of your picture to the right. They have a team huddle around their head coach, Jeff Logan, as the Graham-Kapowsin Eagles get the victory 26-24 over the Bethel Bison in an outstanding battle between these two teams. Boy, the battle for 224th, it did not disappoint. A 2-point victory for Graham-Kapowsin, and another one of those games where it was a shame that either team had to lose and put one in the loss column. It was just that close. It felt like it could have gone either way. So many different swings of the pendulum in this one, but it ultimately ends up with Graham-Kapowsin moving to 4-2 on the year, and also, very importantly, Graham-Kapowsin is now 3-0 in SPSL play. Only them and Olympia in the SPSL South are undefeated in play. Olympia undefeated overall in the season at 5-0. So Graham-Kapowsin 4-2 on the year, 3-0 now in SPSL play. Bethel, they dropped to 3-3 on the year, 1-2 in SPSL play in the SPSL South. For what it's worth, in the SPSL North, there are 3 teams that are undefeated in SPSL play and just 3 teams that haven't gotten a win yet. Sumner is playing Rogers tonight, and at last check, Sumner was winning over Rogers at half. We have that one also on the Eli Sports Network if you want to check that one out before that one comes to a close, if it hasn't already. Let's go over the scoring in this one, because scoring aplenty there was. Bethel, they got the ball to begin the game after Graham-Kapowsin won the toss. They deferred, and they drove down. It was a 10-play drive. That actually ended up tying the longest drive of the game. It was a field goal, 10 plays, and a 33-yard field goal. And the kick from the Bethel kicker, Christian Bernardo, he was able to pound that one through the uprights, and he made it a 3-0 lead. Then Graham-Kapowsin, they drove right down the field after a good return. It set them up at midfield. They were able to go down and score. It was a touchdown pass from A.J. Tuivaiave to Case Betts. That was just a 9-yard touchdown pass, and the extra point was good for a 7-point lead. A little bit later on in the second quarter now, that is where Bethel would strike. And this was the first of 2 touchdowns from Evan Barnes to Zadrius Rainey Saleh. This one goes 26 yards. It was a bobbling grab, might be one of the plays of the game. There were many that we could have chosen from, but that was one of the great plays of the ball game. He somehow was able to concentrate and get his feet down in bounds, 26 yards out. The extra point was good. It was 10-7 at that point. But then Graham-Kapowsin, about 5 minutes later, they go down the field, and that is where Tuivaiave, he was able to find Betts again. This time it was 20 yards for the touchdown, and about 2 minutes later, that is when Bethel would strike once more. It was Zadrius Rainey Saleh beating the defense, and he goes 49 yards on a catch and run to make it Bethel back on top. At that point, it was 17-13, as the extra point for Graham-Kapowsin wasn't good on the second touchdown from Tuivaiave to Betts. And so that brought us to the half, essentially, and then Graham-Kapowsin came up firing on all cylinders. It was first a touchdown run for the sophomore, Blake Peterson. He goes 7 yards, and then it was another touchdown for Graham-Kapowsin. This time it was Tuivaiave. He was able to find Caleb Braithwaite for touchdown. That came on 4th and goal at a really pivotal time in the ball game. He ends up putting Graham-Kapowsin up by 2 scores, and then Bethel was able to score in the 4th quarter on a touchdown. What a great ball that Evan Barnes ended up throwing to Anthony Sanchez-Wiggin. And it eventually ended up being a 26-24 game, but neither team could score after that. And that is how things got to a 26-24 ball game. And it looks like Tim has done some great work. We thank Tim for coming out here. He's got our MVP of the ball game as our Eli Sports Network.com MVP with our free sports website with coverage of all games that we broadcast and a lot more. Check it out on EliSportsNetwork.com. So it looks like we have our player up here for an interview. We're going to